Hello everybody, thank you for joining me today. My name is Jim Coppinger with ZenTek Consultants, and today we're going to be talking about our ZenTek Revu Tools for Sitework Takeoff inside of Bluebeam Revu. So let's go ahead and get started. For those of you who haven't worked with us before or aren't familiar with ZenTek, we're a premier Bluebeam partner, which means that we sell the software, provide tech support and training on all the Bluebeam Revu and its related products. And what we're here to talk about today, we develop and sell our industry-specific tool chests that feature and work right inside of Bluebeam Revu product line. So one thing that I always like to point out with you guys, whatever it is you're looking to do with Bluebeam purchases or upgrades, we can always, as a Bluebeam Premier partner, we can always beat the Bluebeam direct price. So please keep us in mind if you're moving towards upgrades and changes. So with that said, let's jump into the ZenTek Revu Tools for today. So in general, what are ZenTek Revu Tools? Well, like I said, they're industry-specific tool chests, right, that you can see kind of here on the left-hand side of the screen. They plug directly inside the Bluebeam Revu software that you already own, right? And the idea is to give your users a real simple to use set of tools that's going to help them handle the takeoffs in a really easy to enter, simplified, repetitive manner. When I say repetitive, I really mean repeatable, right? Something that you can do job after job after job and be able to easily get the same consistent results on every project in a real simple way. So in particular, the Siteworx set, right, is a set of tools that we've developed specifically for users who are working site and civil related projects. Somehow or other, those of us in the civil world always get forgotten by most of the software developers out there. And I spent a lot of years working in that industry, and we saw a definite need for folks to be able to go in and take off underground utility pipes, excavation, drainage, things like that. So that's where we developed the Sitework tool. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to jump over to review, and we're actually going to take a look at our Sitework tools today. So our Sitework tool set consists of 9 pallets to plug directly into your tool chest, which you see here. See, we've got 9 individual pallets working. Okay, and in each of those pallets, you have a different number of tools for each set. All total, there are 65 independent takeoff tools for 65 different types of items right in here. So what's the real benefit of working with our tool chests as opposed to working directly singularly with inside of Revu? Well, one of the things that you run into quite a lot when we talk to people is they get real frustrated in doing things, and I'll use an area as an example. If you're going in, you just want to take the area of a lot, right? That they can go in and they can point and click, right? And they can get the area. Right? But the problems that they have now is how do we start to delineate different objects, parcels and areas and acreage versus square footage, and they always have to go in as they place each item and then start adding fills, adjusting how the fill looks and works, changing the color of the boxes, the boundaries, the line types, the hatches. Do they want to show segment values, not show segment values? And when you look at even just a very simple site plan, kind of like what I have laid out here, you can see that having to modify 75 or 80 different lot structures just to get the the text height and the fonts and the look that you need to be consistent project after project can really consume a lot of their time. Right? It's very frustrating. I mean, Bluebeam is great in what it does, right? But they're generic tools right out of the box. So instead, what we can do here and what we've done is we've built these custom tool chests so you can start to work with real simple features. All right, so a perfect example here, I'm going to open up the Demolition tool set. So you see up here, I've got some kind of a little bit of existing condition structure up here on the top of my site. So instead of going in and having to pick the area tool, run the area tool, change the text and the fonts and hatches, what we have are a standard set of tools that people can just go and say, look, I need to do a demolition area. And they can just go right in here and structure it. And you see the demolition area already comes in with a consistent look, a consistent feel, consistent labeling. And the consistent labeling is really nice because one of the things that we've done with all of our objects is we've given you the ability in the label structures to be able to modify them on the fly, either to give a general description like in the demolition. So I can just say, demo concrete pad. Right? And you see that it repeats things that I've done before. Just like that, I can easily change what these are. And everything that we're bringing in with the tools are being listed and modified and structured right down here in my markups list, right? As you see all the area volumes, all the calculations that I have working for that. Same thing with volumes. right? I can go in and I can do volume. So if I need to go in and take out a 6-inch thick slab here, right? Very easy thing for me to go in and say, okay, here it is, demo, right? This is a 6-inch demo structure, demo concrete slab here too, right? Let's do concrete pad again. And easily I can go in and change the volumes, right? Change it from a 6 to a 10, right? So if I want to say, hey, this was, a 10-inch, all I have to do is change the depth and then change the label, and just like that, right? 10-inch demo on a concrete, and it updates. Right? We've got standard linear structures. So if I got to take out this fence line, it's very easy for me to just come in and say, listen, we're going to demolish that fence. And again, all I'm changing on these is the description, right? So I can just go in and say demo chain link fence. It's giving me my distance, my length, so I can calculate what the demolition costs are going to be for all these different areas. Okay, I can even go in and if I've got individual objects like bollards or something that I need to remove. Right? It's very easy to just go in and drop and say, listen, I'm taking out 1, 2, 3, 4, and you see that these are being applied as a running count, a grouped set of objects. Okay, so I can see exactly how many of this type of item, and I can just go ahead and change that and say, hey, these are demolished bollards. Okay, so and with our counts, right, we can use all standard Bluebeam Revu tools, and one of the things that's really nice is that you can save these and come back in later, and you can go to any of our counts and you can resume or split the counts. All right, so if I want to come back in and say, hey, I missed a couple, there were 2 more over here. See that once I place those, you see that automatically this updates from 4 to 6. All right, so I can do my running quantity takeoff and estimates very, very easily with those standard tools. All right, we've also included a bunch of other tools for some general excavation structures. All right, some basic volume. So if you want to do a 2-inch topsoil strip, all right, so if I need to strip the topsoil off of lot 12, I can just go in and just drop it in, and just like that. You see, it's already set as a 2-inch topsoil strip. It's being filtered into my excavation subjects. So if I start, down on my markups list, right, I can easily go in and I can start breaking things down, right, by subject. So you can see here's all my excavation items, right? Or I can go in and throw in a 4-inch strip. Maybe I got to do a 4-inch strip over on lot 9. And you see I'm getting a very consistent look. Right? But it's taking into account the different volumes, and then I can actually sort by our label. Right? So now I can actually go in and see how much 4-inch topsoil versus how much 2-inch topsoil am I going to need. So I can just check my volumes and my areas in there. Okay, simple, easy to use tools. Other tools for basement excavation. So if you're doing basement dig-outs, right, and you can go in and set the actual depth on these. Notice they come in with no depth set, so that's very easy for you to just come in and say, hey, we're digging out a 12-foot depth for the basement, right? But it's already set and structured as an excavation code with an excavation, basement excavation label. Right? And the idea behind all of these is that these tools, when you get the ZenTek Revu tools, they get pushed or can be pushed to every single system throughout your company. Right? So that what you want to do is put these on everybody's computers, everybody who's using Bluebeam and doing estimates and markups, so that they have this consistent set of tools. So when you open up anybody's takeoffs, estimate projects, you can see exactly what's going on in each and every one. So ZenTek Revu Tools also includes, excuse me, a whole, I have one of them is actually turned off right here. I'm missing one. I had one turned off. I wonder where my paving went. I wanted to show you guys paving and I don't see it. I don't have it turned on right now. I thought I had paving. I don't have it loaded. That's right. I can load that later. So not a worry. So we do have a whole set for paving. Works just like the excavation tools. Very simple, easy to use. We've got underground utilities built in place for things like storm pipe. Okay, so you see that it's very easy to go in, right? And you can place storm pipe and storm structures, whichever one you need. And you see you can display them in either details view or symbol view. Right, that gets you more information about what you're looking for. So it's a pretty easy thing for me to go in and say, okay, you know what, I need to start dropping in some, B-type inlets, right, 30 by 48s, and I can just zoom into my plan and go, okay, I've got one here and I've got one here, right? And what I'm doing is I'm generating, right, running counts for those type of structures, and I got another one over here, and then I got another one down here, and I can easily switch over, right, to grab my storm manholes. And say, okay, I've got a drainage manhole here. Where else? I got a drain. Yeah, we'll pretend that's a drainage manhole. And I've got another drainage manhole over here. Right? And you see I'm getting separate counts for each of those. I've got 3 drainage manholes. Okay? It's sorting it out, showing me that I've got 4 B-type inlets, and I can change and modify the storm manhole information what type of manhole, what do I want to call it? Is it, type A, type A1, type C, right? Tie it to any schedule or completely change. If I want to say, no, this is a Campbell Foundry type 3244, no problem. I can type whatever it is or whatever I need to know about each of these items. And then once I've got those in place, I can easily come in and start just playing connect the dots with the different storm pipe sizes. Right? So if I can go in and say, okay, look, we're running a 12-inch pipe, right? And I'm going from this structure to this structure, and I'm going to run down to this structure all with 12-inch, right? And I can go ahead and just end that right there. Right? And I can pick up some 15-inch from there, moving on, just grab from the end of that one, right? Throw it up to the next one, right? And that, and I can go in and say, and from there we're going for 30-inch coming out. And I'm just kind of going quickly here. I'm not being necessarily exact with everything I'm doing as far as placement here for a demo, right? But I can go to there and then work my way down to the end, right? And just continue on. So I'm very easily running here. And you see what's happening, right, is that it's dropping in. You see that all the pipes do actually come in at different sizes, okay? They're all fully labeled, right, with the individual segments length displays, 30-inch RCP. And again, you're getting all of your summary information down here where I can go in and I can sort by the subject. So if I need to see all of my storm pipe, right, I can easily do that. I'm just going to minimize some of these that I have in there. So you see, I can see how many storm manholes I have. You see I can sort all the storm pipes. Right? So you see it's showing me a total running length. Or again, I can go back and sort by labels, and I can see how much 12-inch, how much 15-inch, how much 30-inch. Right? And they're all dynamic updates. As modifications are made to any of these, they update the length. So you see, if I were to just drag that pipe off, see it's updating my running length. It's at 275. Right? Brings it back down to 253. So I can make any changes on the fly as the design, the underlying PDF changes. Right? So we've got storm pipe and storm structures. We've also got sanitary piping, right, and sanitary structures that work exactly the same way. So you can see under our sanitary structures, we've got manholes, valves, pumps, backflow preventers, standard cleanouts, right? Simple, easy to use tools. And as you go in and start putting these in place, so for example, if you're going in, and I know I don't really have any pipes here, but I'm just going to drop a couple of cleanouts on the storm run here, and we'll pretend, right, that I'm throwing in. You see, again, I'm just getting group counts. So I can easily tie those in to the specifics of what type of clean out each one of these are, okay? So I can easily go in and say, hey, these are all sanitary clean out type 1, right? Now I've got all 3 of those. And then if I come back later and decide, oh, you know what? I didn't read that. This one here is actually a type 2. I can easily just split that count. Now this is its own independent item. It's opposed from the other ones, and I can just change that one to be a type 2. So now you see I have, if you're watching my bottom of my screen, I've got 2 sanitary cleanout type 1s and 1 sanitary cleanout type 2. Simple, easy changes make things a little easier on your folks when they're doing their estimates and takeoffs. Right? And we've got a whole set of water pipe structures. Again, same thing, standard ductile iron runs. Okay, and we've got all the symbols that you need for water valves, reducers, etc. Right? So again, I can go in if I'm just going to throw a 1-inch water line running down the road here. Just kind of eyeballing one in. Don't really matter where I put it. All right, so you can see it's put in my water line. It's running it as a 1-inch ductile iron. Right? And then I can easily go back in and add all the water structures. If I want to go in and start dropping in, hey, I've got a water valve here. Oops, sorry, I was still in that command. There it goes. Took a minute. I kind of hung up. All right, so you see I'm going to move that one over. So I've got water valves here and here. Right? I can put in bends, T's, hydrants. So if I have to start counting how many hydrants I have on site, right? And then playing, connect the with 1/2 inch or whatever you need to run from one to the other. No, 1/2 inch isn't really going to cut it for a fire hydrant, but just showing you real simply, right? But I can easily go in and use the larger, if I need an 8-inch, right? Running off the water main to here. Okay, so you get all the different sizes and the lengths, and it keeps track of all that down here for me. And the other thing that we've done with all of these, right, is that we've built in place a number of different features and tools. So you see down here, when you get the ZenTek Revu Tools, it also includes basic structures for the underground piping, things like the valve type, right? So I can go in and say, what kind of valve do I have? Is it ball, butterfly, gate, globe, needle, right? So I can easily just go and say, hey, that's a gate valve. So I've got 2 gate valves. I can change the water valve type, call out, right? Same things when I go in and I grab a storm structure, right? I can go and say, hey, what class of RCP is this, right? Is it a class 1, 2, 3, or 4, right? It's a class 3, right? And when I've got sanitary, right, lines in there, I can choose what type of PVC I have. So if I go in and throw in I'm just going to throw in a quick sanitary pipe here. You see, it's really easy to just drop things in place. right? Then I can go in and say, hey, you know, is this schedule 40 or schedule 80, right? So you can control and contract all the information that you need in all of your takeoffs and quantity estimates here very, very easily using these tool sets, right? So it's a great way to be able to organize and get all of your people consistent. And you can see it's giving you a very simple to use, easily sortable and filterable structure down here in your review markups list with some custom columns already built in place for you for the, you know, the standard information that you really need on a recurring basis when you're doing a site takeoff. Now, the other thing that's really nice about the way we've structured these is that every single tool that we build, right, comes in a basic layer structure. Right? Meaning that whatever it is that I have turned on screen here, you see all the things that I've drawn during this demo, they all come in their own layers. So I can easily go in and say, listen, let me turn off the demolition layers. Right? Let me turn off the excavation layers. Right? I can turn off the sanitary. See, the sanitary pipe turns off. I can turn off just the structures. Right? Turn off the storm pipes, turn off the storm structures, the water pipes, etc. The idea being is that, you know, one of the things that people get really frustrated with is when you get a single plan that has just a ton of stuff on it that you have to take off. And then you wind up making 4 or 5 copies, making one for demolition takeoffs. You make another one for excavation, one for paving, one for sanitary, one for, yeah. You wind up taking what should be a single PDF, one area, and you have to break it out to 4 or 5 different PDF files. And instead, with this layer structure, it's very easy for me to go in, do all this, you know, do all my sanitary work, and just go, okay, I'm done with the sanitary work. Let me just turn that off. And then I have a nice clean drawing. Now I can start and do all the storm work, get all that done. Good. Let me turn off all the storm work. See, it's cleaning things up. Now I can do all the water. When I'm done, just turn the water off. Right? Keeping everything simple and consistent within one file. Right? Because then when you've got it all in one file, it becomes real easy to come down here and actually start to extract these out to something like a CSV file. Right? So you'll see that all of our custom columns, all of the items and features, everything that we've labeled and built in with our ZenTek Revu Tools, I can actually go out and I'm just going to save this onto my desktop, right? And it'll generate an Excel summary for me. And I've got a fully populated, ready to go takeoff with all of my information already done and in place. All I have to do now is tie in costs. Right? And with Revu, it's not part of the ZenTek tools, but with Revu, you can actually add the costing and everything in as custom columns. Right? So again, you can see that everything that we put in, everything that came in is part of our standard takeoffs, right? All of the comments and labels, everything that we had in place, right? Including the valve type, the PVC type, the RCP class, all of the information that you guys are going to want to have consistently come in and are output directly to a CSV file, right? And that's a real useful setup. You can do it as a CSV. You can also extract these out to a PDF summary, right? If you need it, right? So either way works very, very well. And they're all subject to the standard Bluebeam filtering. So if you want to go through and filter and say, look, I'm only looking to, so I'm going to filter on subjects and say, you know, I only want to have, let's say we only want to have the sanitary. Let's do the storm pipe. Right? And you see just like that. Now I've got a list of just my storm piping. And I can easily do an, you know, again, an extract to Excel, and I'll pull out just the storm pipe as its own Excel spreadsheet. All right, so this is the kind of stuff that you can do very simply and very consistently using the ZenTek Revu Tools, right, for the sanitary, for the Sitework. The other thing that I do always like to show for those of you who are working with Bluebeam Revu Extreme, the dynamic fill features, right, is that you can actually use the dynamic fill, which is great for site work because it lets us go in and actually add in real odd shaped structures in quick selections. Right? And for some reason, I guess with the video share, it's taking a little longer than usual here. All right, there it goes. It finally came up. So, you know, you think about it in terms of if I were to go in and just do an area and I wanted to do the area around here, how often I have to, you know, pick and do all of these outlines. It's tedious and time consuming. Whereas with the dynamic tool, I can just do a flood fill, and you see that I can just kind of select in that whole area that I want to work with, right, pretty easily. Now, the reason I'm showing you this is because when you use the dynamic fill tool, you'll notice that under the drop downs here, I've got all the different features for you know, linear structures, areas, volumes, and you see that all of our ZenTek Revu tools come up, right, as part of this dynamic tools setup. And the great thing about this is I can go in and I can apply multiple things at once. So if I want to say, hey, listen, we're going to have to demolish all the asphalt in that area, I can mark it as a demolition area, right? And I can go in and say at the same time, right, I can grab any of my linear structures that I have to put in there, right? And I can even go in and add volumes at the same time. So if I want to go in and say, hey, and we're also going to do, I know it's a little weird, right? But I can also say we're going to go in and trench that to a 6-inch depth, right? And just go ahead and apply. And you see that it applies both markups in one shot. You see I get the outside linear structure as well as the demolition, and then I can actually go over to layers and see the, the different controls for those, right? So I can go in and show the demolition, don't show the demolition, right? Show the sanitary piping. Well, I forget what else I put on there. Oh, the excavation, that's what I had. So I can turn the excavation off. See, there's the demolition, there's the excavation, right? So I can control multiple entries in a single shot, in a combination between the dynamic fill property and the ZenTek Revu tool chests. Okay, so I think that's a very quick overview for you guys of what the ZenTek Revu tools for Sitework do. So with that said, I'm just going to jump back and I'm going to wind this out, answer a couple of questions. People always ask, how can you purchase the Revu tools for Sitework? They're available only through direct purchase from ZenTek, and you can reach out to us at sales@zentekconsultants.net for more information or for a price quote. And we sell those as a one-time perpetual license on a per seat basis with optional but very recommended annual maintenance. So you get upgrades every time a new version of Bluebeam Revu comes out. And if you only want certain site work tools, maybe you're saying, look, I only want the water, I only want the sanitary and storm, we will sell you the individual pallets as well if you only want a few of those in the same model. And again, just reach out to sales@zentekconsultants.net for a price quote. And right now we actually have 4 industry packages available: exteriors, interiors, structural work, and site work. But we do have a whole bunch more that are in the process of being developed, and we expect to roll those out throughout this year. An additional 10 sets we have slated. So keep in touch and keep looking if you're looking for other tool sets to work with. Other than that, I want to thank you guys for joining us today and spending the time. And my information is up here on the screen. If you guys have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me. So thank you all, and I hope you all have a wonderful day.